Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the table. It's me, Shannon, with my lovely co-host.
Katelynn, hello.
Hello. We are a little bit out of practice here. It's been some time since we last recorded, but I am so excited to be back.
Yeah, we're a little late. I have no excuse or reasoning. It's just I posted a week late. And now
Yeah.
we're gonna do it again.
It's okay. Just life is hip happening over here.
Yeah. We got busy, very event-filled lives. Actually, we saw each other in person for the second time since starting this podcast, so that's pretty cool.
I know. Got to see your face, and not just a random avatar picture that we pick for the week.
Yeah. I mean, at least those change up a little bit, so that's always fun. But has it been? It'll have it almost a year since we started this, which is
Really?
insane. Yeah, I think it was August or September of last year we started it.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't that nuts?
Oh my god, we need to have a 1-year anniversary special. We should find the
We
exact
should
date.
just have every guest we've ever had on at once. It'll just be absolute hell to listen to.
Perfect. We can do a game show.
Oh my god, what? Yes?
Family Feud.
That would be fun. It may be something we do over multiple episodes of have different groups of people.
Yeah.
But that would be so much fun.
Ooh. Okay. The wheels are turning. We'll figure it out.
Okay, we'll plan that. We'll see how many people want to even come back and do it too.
That's true. They would have to have liked the podcast and us enough to come back.
I don't think anyone would not want to come back. Maybe my mom. I don't know. I think my mom had a fine time. I just don't think being on the internet is her jazz.
Fair. It's okay.
She'd be happy to participate somehow.
Lovely. Well, we'll figure it out. But yeah, we did get to see each other in person, which was so fun. And your mom, speaking of which, has been growing a number of things in her garden.
Yeah, I actually went around the backyard and got a good look at it for the first time in a while, and she has grown a jungle. We have more tomatoes and raspberries and zucchinis than we know what to do with. We did, however, use one zucchini this weekend, which was very exciting. And we made brownies with it.
We did. I have never made zucchini brownies before. So I don't want to say I was skeptical, but I was like, I just don't know how this is going to come out. And it was delightful. We used special dark cocoa, which made it extra fudgy. And it was so strange for the first 3/4 of us making that because it looked like it was just a dry bowl of ingredients. And I was like, this is not brownie batter consistency. How is this going to work? And then as soon as you add the zucchini, there's just so much water in it that you don't drain out ahead of time.
Do not drain according to the recipe. The recipe had in all caps, "Do not drain" next to the zucchini multiple times, so it became a good joke between us. Susrita was with us, former guest of the podcast as well, so it was a good time. I don't get the zucchini brownies, and not that I say that I didn't like them. I love them. I just don't get it. You know what I mean? It's not healthy.
Yeah, why do it? I think it's more just to sneak a vegetable in rather than to try to claim it's healthy.
Yeah, that makes more sense because the actual blog post beforehand that no one ever reads, and I don't know why they bother writing it. It says oh my god, and these are healthy. I'm there's 2 cups of sugar in this. No, they're not.
It's simply not.
It was a much cakier brownie than a brownie. It was very fluffy, which is fine. Not my vibe for brownies, but I've never been able to home make brownies that were actually fudgy versus cakey. I just haven't found the recipe. So it certainly wasn't a fail by any means.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. It was more just cake than a brownie. Cake in a brownie pan. But
yeah, pretty much. Although that would make a good cake, I think.
Yeah, I think so. If we made it in a cake pan.
Yeah, you could fool everybody. Happy birthday to me. Everyone have some cake. Hey, you're eating zucchini. Pranked. You've
Been
been
pranked.
punked. Absolutely goofed.
You've been zucchinied.
Get zooked. Oh my god, I need ways to sneak zucchini into everything now. Get zooked. You just find a whole zucchini in your shoe one morning.
And what a fantastic segue. If we get zooked into, like, the English language, we'll be among a number of other food idioms that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. Certainly not a dry market over there for food idioms and phrases.
Was that another do not drain joke? It's not a dry market.
Yeah, didn't think of that. That's funny though. I'm glad we did not drain. They came out pretty good.
Pretty good.
I do have a quick story to open us up before we get to the idioms thing though, because I can't help it. It's so funny.
Okay.
And I've told you this already.
Go for it.
This is for I was in strawberry denial. I think that's the only way I can phrase it. I found out rather abruptly that I truly hate strawberries, and I was unaware that I hated strawberries. And I only found that out when I tried to put strawberries in my tea, like just blended strawberries. I didn't make a syrup or anything, which is like problem numero uno. And I was like, this tastes disgusting. This tastes exactly like all the smoothies I've tried to make on my own that taste disgusting. And then I realized that the common denominator was freaking strawberries. And I never eat strawberries whole because there's like fruit hurts my teeth because it's sour and sweet. So I just eat fruit amongst other things usually.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, man, I don't like strawberries at all. I like strawberry syrup and strawberry flavored things. But I can't eat strawberries, and I'm kind of upset because, like, they're strawberries. Everybody loves strawberries. I want to love strawberries. But no, I ruined my tea. I blended an entire container of strawberries to enjoy with my tea for the next week. And then, thankfully, my brother likes it, so he ate them instead.
That's good. I'm glad they're getting use.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally understand, like, wanting to like something and just it misses the mark every time. Like, that's kind of how I feel about tea. I would love to be a tea person. I just I don't know. I get so excited and then I drink a few sips and I'm like, actually, never mind.
Do you like iced tea?
It's okay. I think it's kind of maybe a little bit better than hot tea, but still in the same bucket.
Yeah, I do green tea with like Truvia in it, so mine is sweetened, thankfully.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not an all-around tea person. It's kind of just that one, and it's a good start to my day. And then I can make it iced if I want. But there's a lot of tea I have not tried, so limited there, I guess.
Yeah.
You got tea with us this weekend, though, and you didn't like it all that much.
Yeah, I got milk tea, which was silly because I don't really like milk either, so I don't know what I was thinking. I just saw banana and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be good.
I would also like to point out, and like this is not a slight because I do this all the time, but we went to a boba place and she got it without boba.
Dude, it's another thing, you know? You think you like it, and then you just have it a couple of times, and you're like, I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's weird. I had that same realization with pancakes too, whereas like Noah and I were deciding what to have for breakfast, and like I always throw pancakes out as a suggestion, and then we were both like, we never want pancakes, and I was like, I don't like pancakes, do I? And he goes, I don't think I like pancakes either. So now we just make waffles if we're gonna cook something similar to that, or we go out for breakfast.
That's so funny. It's like those sneaky things you don't like, but
yeah,
they'll just pop up on you. You're like, I've been living my whole life thinking that I like this.
Yeah. But
Well,
yeah, and to that I say, cool beans to realizing you don't like food. And it's okay.
it's okay.
So
Maybe
there
it's just not your cup of tea.
sometimes you just gotta say hasta la vista, or dang it, I messed it up. Hasta la pasta to foods you think you like but you don't. I ruined the segue. Anyway.
It's okay. The intent was there.
Maybe I'll edit that, or maybe I won't. No, I need a fail on record. It's gonna stay.
Just like
We
the
gotta.
intent to like strawberries, the intent to segue was there.
Yes. The attempt was there, and it fell flat. Flat as a pancake. There's 4 forced segues that lasted too long. Anyway, so we both have compiled or found or researched lists of idioms, phrases, and whatevers that include food, and maybe some we'll learn the origins of, and some we'll just laugh at. Who knows?
Yeah. Would you like to go first?
Um, sure. The one, I mean, I'll use the one that I've already said because that's where I started with this was hasta la pasta. And we were talking about this like right before the episode started. And I didn't even know what hasta meant. And then Shannon reminded me of the phrase hasta la vista. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's Spanish. Got it. And it's just hasta la vista means see you later. And pasta rhymes. So they shoved it in there. So not a very big origin story, but it is one of the first ones I remember learning and liking as a kid was hasta la pasta.
Yeah, was that from anywhere in particular? Like someone started saying it, or is it more like you just heard family or friends?
My aunt said it for sure. My aunt Monique definitely said it. 'Cause she would always say the like, see you later, alligator, in a while, crocodile, hasta la pasta. Like it was a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
I did see that an incredible um Urban Dictionary link saying it came from those Nancy Drew computer games, which like I feel like is not true.
It's not true, but can I prove it otherwise? No, I can't.
Yeah, am I gonna bother proving it otherwise? Absolutely not.
So, I mean, I think it sounds pretty canon to me from those video games. Awesome.
Yeah, that's mine. Number 1.
Nice. That's so fun. So I have first on my list, when something is your cup of tea or not your cup of tea. Um, so basically meaning if it is your cup of tea, you like it. If not, you don't really like it. Um, but this says it's been used since the late 1800s. And that is
Oh wow.
because tea has been an important drink in many cultures throughout history. And in the early 20th century, a cup of tea was used to mean that you held a certain affinity or affection towards something in Benny Hale's 1937 song, A Nice Cup of Tea. So
I like that it has some origins in a song. That's pretty cool.
that is fun. It also looks like it was in William de Morgan's novel Somehow Good, also from the early 1900s. So it just it popped up in a couple of songs and books, and then I think it has stuck around just all that time.
That's pretty cool. All right, my next one is to go bananas. If someone has gone bananas, it means they've gone crazy or bonkers. And what I've found very through like my brief research is like it's most likely probably related to monkeys and like animals go crazy for something that they like. But it kind of there's no origin place like you have like both the book and the song.
Mhm.
It's just kind of you know monkey brain. Animals be excited for food that they love. And I'm glad that like monkeys actually do like bananas because there's a lot of like assumptions about food with animals that people have that are just plain wrong. Like mice don't particularly like cheese.
That is bananas. I remember
um
hearing that. I don't know exactly when I first heard it, but it was in my late teen or like early adult years. And I was like, why? Who started that rumor then?
Also, cats do not particularly love lasagna. Garfield is an outlier and should have been excluded from the statistic.
I don't believe that one.
I truly just cracked myself up on that one. That one might be going on a TikTok. Oh my god, I am my favorite fan. I am my biggest fan.
Good, as you should
Unlike
be.
unlike my fan that's currently off right now, so there's no background noise.
That's so funny. Also thinking of bananas too. I don't know if this is the origin, but like that song, "Go Bananas," BANANAS.
Oh yeah, that
That's
definitely came
banana.
from the phrase.
Yeah, I'm sure that song came out after the phrase was a thing.
Yeah, is
But
that Gwen Stefani?
I think so.
Yeah,
Is that
I
in
think is
Hollaback
that
Girl?
it's Hollaback Girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I saw someone post something that was like, if only Gwen Stefani spelled out tomorrow or Wednesday in her song. So that they could remember how to spell stuff.
That's so funny.
But yeah,
Hey, go bananas. That's a good one.
go bananas.
I didn't have that on my list.
Awesome. I can only hope to have ones that you do not have.
Okay. Next up for me is when you take something with a pinch of salt or with a grain of salt. So
Oh.
this idiom is like, here's some information knowing that it's probably not 100% accurate or true. We've said it before on this podcast. Take our
Oh yeah.
information with a grain of salt because we do minimal research here.
It's going on a shirt that's coming. It's coming, but it's gonna be on a shirt.
It's gonna be on a shirt, which is so fun. But this one is really interesting because they trace it back to ancient Greece, and the idea comes from the fact that food is more easily swallowed if it's taken with a small amount of salt. So,
Oh.
by translation, like the truth is more easy to swallow if it's a little bit untrue.
Oh, so it's more digestible. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I always meant that like take it with a grain of salt as in like don't prioritize it too much. Like this information is as small as a grain of salt.
Mm.
That's funny. I also find like ooh, I'm getting a little echo from you. Um I find like calling it a grain of salt too. It's like grain is a very specific word that like I don't know. It's used for salt very often. But when I think of a grain, I think of like wheat. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's a weird take, I think.
that's true. I'm not exactly certain why it's a grain. I'm reading a little
Yeah.
bit more in this article to see if that covers it.
Because like you wouldn't say a grain of sugar, you'd say like a crystal of sugar or a ground of pepper. Would you say grain of pepper? Maybe you would.
Yeah. Oh, maybe that's why, because it's ground. It's a grain.
Yeah. Oh, do those words have the same root word? Maybe.
Maybe.
You're you're probably right.
I don't know.
Huh.
I just made that up hearing you say them both next to each other. They sounded similar, so I don't know.
So I just pulled up another bit of research on the next one I'm going to say, which is the apple of my eye, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Oh, yep.
Oh, okay. cool. So I thought the apple of my eye meaning is like, it means something desirable, something you like to look at. Um, just something you enjoy. And I thought it was like referencing like the creation story in the Bible, like Eve looked at the apple and desired it. Um, I guess not. It's also from the Bible. It's just from somewhere else. Um, and in Deuteronomy is where it says it in one of the places. He found him in a desert land, and in the hollowing waste of the wilderness, he encircled him. I got a pop-up ad. Hold on. There's ads on my Bible stories. He cared for him, and he kept him as the apple of his eye. So basically, that back then, apple of his eye meant like the little man in his eye. So like the person, it's a reflection of yourself. So that's what it came from. Is the apple of his eye was he was thinking about himself. So the phrase has definitely changed since its original usage.
Wow. Okay. So apple of my eye originally means a reflection of yourself, whereas now it's more just like a treasured someone.
Yeah, it usually means someone else. In Hebrew, it actually directly translates to little man of his eye. So it's basically seeing yourself reflected in somebody else's eye. So I don't know. I mean, I can see the change from the apple of my eye being like what you are looking at rather than seeing yourself in someone else's eye mirror.
Mm-hmm.
I hate that I said that.
You know, the eye mirror.
The eye mirror. And I have 3 sources that I'll say it's from that phrase versus like the creation story, which I totally thought it was Adam and Eve. To be the apple of someone's eye clearly means that you are being focused on and watched closely by that person. Okay, so that description comes from Shakespeare. So around Shakespeare's time is when it started to change into being less selfish and being about someone else.
Yeah, I am so glad you brought up Shakespeare. So I feel like we've got to commend my guy, Willie Shakes. The number of phrases and words that he just came up with that are now so commonplace. It's crazy.
He came up with swagger.
What?
Right? I don't understand.
Like, that is so impressive to just be such a, like, cultural force. That you are sitting in your room one day alone, you're like, swagger, that sounds like a fun word. And then it just becomes a thing for hundreds of years.
I can only imagine Willie Shakes himself seeing what we have done with his plays today and seeing his phrases used the way they are used today. And I can only imagine his reaction to them. Kind of like that scene from Doctor Who where Vincent van Gogh comes back and gets to see all of his work in a gallery. I think it would be the opposite reaction of that. I don't know if you've seen that scene.
I have not. So what was his reaction?
Oh my god, it breaks my heart, and it's not even real. So Vincent van Gogh is one of my favorite artists. My favorite painting is Sunflowers. But in Doctor Who, they bring Vincent van Gogh, he was depressed and messed up his whole life, and he never got to see any of his paintings sold, ever. We only know about him because his brother and his brother's wife saw the meaning in his paintings, and after he died, turned him into what he is today. And they bring him to like a gallery of his work in what it looks to be like the art museum in Boston that I've been to. And he starts asking people why they're here and why they care. And he just starts to sob. And it's just, the music swells up and it's just him spinning, looking at all the paintings, and just, it's beautifully done. Yeah. And I've never watched Doctor Who beyond that moment. And that one scene just freaking kills me. It's so well done. And I can only imagine that's how he would react to some capacity beyond like absolutely having a psychotic break when seeing an iPhone. But like beyond that point.
Yeah, for sure. Wow. That is so like, I don't even have a word to describe it. It's so interesting that someone, recognized not only like Van Gogh is so huge and like has such an influence now today after his death, but someone who created Doctor Who was like, let's bring him back from the past and insert him in
Yeah.
this world now. Like, that's
Yeah.
so cool.
So brilliant to have written that scene in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And just to, I mean, like, we can't do it for actual Vincent, but we can, give us a taste of it in like through one director's eyes and one screenwriter's eyes. But it was just so cool to watch, especially when like I studied him and it was part of like my college education, was to learn a lot about him.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole thing with like he ate yellow paint to feel happier. It was more likely that he just licked the end of his brush a lot, which a lot of artists did.
Mm-hmm.
But he was super depressed, like, and poor his whole life. His brother kept him afloat the whole time because he supported his art and all that, and he never got to see any of his paintings like sold beyond a couple pennies here and there.
Wow.
Just like, oh my god, he's like one of the coolest artists of all time. It sucks. That's the thing with art. That's the catch-22, is like how many artists like don't see a lick of their fame until after they died.
Yeah.
Thank you, Instagram, for letting me share my art while I am alive. I appreciate it. Because we know sure as heck my brother wouldn't be selling them.
Wow, no faith in your brother.
It's just art ain't his thing.
Fair enough.
He'd sell my computers.
There you go. But so Shakespeare seeing his own plays.
Sorry.
I think he would love it. I don't know what you were imagining his reaction to be.
I imagine him laughing. Like, you see him like the stussification of Romeo and Juliet and like Nomeo and Juliet, and then the Lion King. Yeah. I think he would laugh.
Yeah, definitely. He'd get a kick out of it. Like, this is not what I meant at all, but love to see it.
Yeah. Or when you see, just showing him the picture of Swagrid, and I think you know what I'm talking about. Do you know Swagrid?
I am familiar with Swagrid, yes.
Okay, alright, good. It didn't come through if you said anything.
No, I was just laughing. I haven't thought about it in a hot minute.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, also Bilbo Swaggins. Just beautiful. So like good. To have, I want him to see those two. And then I need him to watch parts of Harry Potter and part of Lord of the Rings. And just exist in our world for a little bit. Yeah, I think Shakespeare would get a kick out of those things.
Mm. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Then he needs to go watch Wicked.
Mm-hmm. And then I think he would write like 7 more plays while he was here. Like, he just...
Yeah.
So many.
Just start popping them out.
Popping them out.
Yeah. I mean, that is if William Shakespeare is really who he says he is, because there's that like weird conspiracy that he's not actually him and he's a ghostwriter.
True. I've also heard theories that it's like multiple writers were under the name of Shakespeare.
Yeah, I've seen that too.
Oh, the real Shakespeare watching Something Rotten, though. It's so funny. That's a quality musical. If you don't know anything about it out there, would recommend.
We need to show him the true magic of theater, and he has to watch Trail to Oregon by Starkid. Just to see the ending with the dysentery. He would self-destruct.
Oh, man. Wow. What a guy. Anywho, he is responsible for a lot of phrases, which we love to see. So, what was even the original phrase that got us on this tangent?
I said the apple of your eye changed over in Shakespeare's time to mean something else.
That's right. Okay. Perfect.
I think he also came up with break a leg.
I would believe that. Yeah, I don't know for certain, but all right. So, the next phrase on my list is easy as pie.
Mm-hmm.
And this one is so fun because it's wrong, but it's it's right. So the
Pie
original
is so hard
version
to make.
exactly. So the original version of the phrase was easy as eating pie, which makes way more sense.
Oh.
Uh, so a US magazine called Sporting Life published a baseball commentary in 1886 that said, "As for stealing the second and third, it's like eating pie." So that's correct. Easy as eating
Mm-hmm.
pie. And then June of the following year, a Rhode Island newspaper picked it up and used a shortened phrase, easy as pie. And from
Dang it,
there,
Rhode Island.
they just, they kept it the shortened way.
That's so funny. I love hearing when phrases do that, when they're just like completely wrong because people decided to change them.
Mm-hmm.
Because pie is freaking difficult.
It is.
It,
I underestimate how hard it is, and usually around Thanksgiving, like we'll make an apple pie, and I'm like, gee.
yeah. And there are ways to cheat a pie. Obviously, you can get pre-made crusts. You can get the rolled crusts and then unroll them. You can get pre-made filling. But if you're doing it like from garden to table, it's a long process.
It is. And you have to be careful with the crust, too, because doesn't it kind of shrink up as it bakes?
Yep. And some recipes you have to par bake them, meaning you have to bake them with nothing in it or with no filling in it. And
Mhm.
then you put the filling and then you bake it again. And when you par bake some of them, you have to put like rice or beans in it to like keep it from puffing up and shrinking.
Yeah. It's it's a much harder process than you would expect it to be. Maybe in part
Yeah.
because of the phrase, you hear it easy as pie.
Yeah, and I I I don't know anyone who expects pie to be easy at this point because everyone's very well aware of the work it takes to make pie.
Mhm.
But for those who think pie is easy to make, I encourage you to make a pie.
Pie.
Because you'll get a great result, but then you'll have to have made a pie.
You'll get to eat it, but you'll learn lessons along the way.
Yeah. I had to do the par bake thing with a quiche, which is arguably not a pie, but damn close to a pie. Um, and that was the first thing Noah and I ever made together was a quiche.
Oh, you made a quiche?
Yeah, so the first time we ever got to work together was in high school because I went to vocational school and we were in culinary together on the same team. So we got to make quiche together. And it's that quiche sucked, but it was a good time.
It wasn't the quiche, it was the friends you made along the way.
Hell yeah. And I'm going on 8 years with that friend. Actually, 9 years since we've been friends, so yeah.
Nice. I am not a huge fan of quiche in general.
It's not that good.
No. I've tried it a
Just
few
omelets
times.
are better.
Yeah. I just like don't know what I expect it to be. But then I'll eat it and I'm like, that's not what I expected.
It's super milky and creamy, which we know you're not a fan of anyway.
Yeah. Has to be in the right
And it
context.
Yeah, and it's savory. It's one of those like anything baked in a circle like that I think should be sweet. Sorry. Just
Yes.
as I like frittatas, which is just basically a baked omelet. So there's crust only on the bottom or not at all, and then it's just egg plus fillings above it. There's not usually a lot of milk or cream. It's just egg. And that's usually pretty good.
Yeah. Maybe that's part of it. It just I expect a quiche to be sweeter or like a dessert,
Mhm.
and it's not.
You look at it and you're like, "Oh my god, a cheesecake." And then you eat it and it's not a freaking cheesecake, it's egg.
Yeah,
It's just the expectations are not set up for the presentation, I think.
definitely.
And it's not easy to make either. It's not easy as pie. Easy as pie is as easy to make as quiche. Complicated. Takes a lot of work. All right. This one weirds me out if you think about it for too long. To butter me up.
Mm-hmm.
That's gross. And I know it's usually in like a pretty neutral, like normal setting. So you buttered someone up, you like, you know, you praise them, you flatter them, or like you set them up to ask them a question. Like you gotta butter them up before you ask for a raise, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Some people use it in a more romantic setting, like to butter up your spouse, not literally. You know, to get them in a good mood for whatever you plan to do mutually, consensually after that. But don't butter people. That's disgusting. I don't get it.
You just run up with a stick of butter. It's like tag.
It's like tag. Squat, and you just like smash the butter stick into them. Because I'm seeing a visual here, and it's a man in a suit with a cigar and a person, clearly like their employee, standing behind them holding a stick of butter on a knife. I don't get it. I get it if you add butter to corn or popcorn or toast or something, and it makes it better, makes it more appetizing because butter is delicious. But it's one of those phrases that like I don't use, but if I did use it, every time I did, I'd be like, that's a weird thing to say out loud.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I don't use it often, but I have used it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I really use it in reference to myself. Like, I don't say I'm gonna go butter someone up. But, like, if someone's telling me a story and they, you know, did that, essentially, but not the idiomatic phrase version of it. What is it actually called? Compliment someone? No, it's more than that.
Yeah, flatter them.
Flatter. That's the word I was thinking of. Thank you.
Yeah, we're even now.
Yes. So if someone's telling me a story and then I'm like, oh, you had to butter them up to get what you wanted. Wow.
Yeah.
That was such a roundabout story. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It crosses the line between flattering and manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's funny both ways, but I don't know. It's one of those like when you say it, it's one thing, but when you think about it, it's like, ew.
Yeah. So did you find an origin for it?
I didn't. Nope. It just relates to like putting butter on popcorn or corn or something. Just makes things better.
Okay, because I also had this on my list, and there's a possible origin. I don't know if it's accurate.
Nice.
But this one says it might be traced back to ancient India, or just like South Asian, Middle Eastern sort of like places. And ghee butter was used in ancient religious rituals, where it was a popular practice to throw balls of ghee butter onto sacred sculptures of various deities in reverence as an offering.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that could be, that's
cool.
an interesting, if that's right. Because it's sort of like they're literally putting on butter to get the favor of their gods.
Huh. They must have some slimy statues.
I know. You just walk by it the next day and you're like, it's a little slippery.
I can see that makes a lot of sense too. Like making butter, there's effort there, and then making ghee, which is clarified butter, which is basically the extra butter fat is taken out.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of work to put into that, and then to then offer something that took a lot of work up to a god would make sense to me.
Yeah.
Interesting. I like that. That makes more sense than popcorn.
Yeah, I mean, that also makes sense too. Because it does, make it better. For sure.
Yeah. All right. What do you have next?
All right, next up, I have say cheese.
I hate this one.
Yeah, it is, sure you've heard it before if you're about to take a photograph and the person behind the camera says, say cheese. It's basically a way for the people who are being photographed to say the word cheese, and it's supposed to just naturally make your mouth into a smile shape. So that is the functionality of it. And the first use of it was probably from Ambassador Joseph E. Davies, who worked under Franklin D. Roosevelt. And he is credited for being the first person to observe that by saying the phrase, it makes a person smile.
Mm-hmm. It also, from the photographer's standpoint, does not work. Don't do it. If you're going for a picture that is like it's an important picture, obviously if you got some kids like taking pictures for fun, you got to do this cheese thing because they all love to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it makes you look like you're grimacing. It shows like you're too much of your teeth and you squint your eyes too much.
Mm.
And you say cheese.
Yeah, I do find it gives a very kind of forced smile when I've done it.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're not someone who smiles with their mouth open. Like I just smile more with my mouth closed. And so if I say it, I look strange,
Yeah.
which is fine.
Oh my god, wait, that's such a good point. Because I generally, when I smile, like some of my teeth will show, but it's not like my whole set of teeth. And I remember past photographers being like, oh, show your teeth. Like,
no, thank you.
To get a bigger smile. And I'm like, I just look crazy.
Yeah. And almost any photographer like knows when to use it and when not to use it and knows like how to make sure you're comfortable with your smile and that you look good on their end. But it makes you just show like the sides of your mouth a lot more than you would if you were just smiling the way that you would smile. The trick is to do something silly before the camera goes up and then you make yourself laugh, and that's how I do it.
Mm.
Like, especially if I'm taking pictures, like, in public, like I did it with my mom for my graduation photos. I'll just do something dumb, like do a quick Macarena, and then I'm laughing, and then my pictures come out better.
Yeah. That's a good way to do it.
It's a great trick, and I've done it with Noah, too. I'll whisper in his ear, like, think about South Park, and he'll start laughing, and then I get better pictures. But, yeah, that's a good one. I definitely see why it's lasted, because like especially amongst kids, they love that. He's,
Oh
they all
yeah.
say it the same way.
Yeah, little kids for sure. I do remember like myself being little and then seeing other like little kids. Part of it is just like exaggerating the word cheese.
Yeah, it's part of the experience. You
For
gotta
sure.
get kids to do something with photos because they don't usually like them.
Yeah.
All right. I have your cake and eat it too.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's another one that like never resonated with me because I always like, well, having your cake, the point of it is to eat it. And of course, that's my like sass brain not getting the point. And it was first used in a letter from Thomas, Duke of Norfolk or Norfolk. I don't know. I live. You'd think I'd be able to say these things with the towns in our state. From Thomas, Duke of Norfolk to Thomas Cromwell in 1538. The in British English, usually the last word is missed, so it's you can't have your cake and eat it. So in American English, we would say to at the end. Basically meaning you can't enjoy it without using it up. Things are temporary. You can't have like both ends of the stick. You got to have it or you got to eat it. You can't have both.
Mm-hmm.
And the meaning has stayed the same since back then, since that very particular letter. And I still get it now, but I think eating your cake is much better than having your cake because looking at a cake is rather boring.
Unless it's one of those cakes that doesn't look like it's cake.
Oh, look, an avocado.
Avocado. Thanks.
I showed my little cousin Molly that video for the first time last weekend, and she couldn't get over it. I'm like, have you not seen this? You're on all the social medias that a 10-year-old could possibly be on.
Yeah.
And I realized that people are already too young for Vine.
I was gonna say, that's a bit of an older internet joke.
Yeah, I also taught her about the magic of Crazy Frog.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, can't have your cake and eat it too. Also, the point of cake is to give it away anyway. So even if you don't eat it, you're not gonna have it.
Another good point. Nice. That's a good one. I didn't even think of that.
Thank you, Google. I didn't either, but I'm glad Google gave it to me.
Okey smokes. I don't know how we're doing on time here.
We are at 48 minutes.
Okay. Because I have, I think, several more, but like two that I definitely want to get to.
Yeah.
All right. So, one of them is a red herring.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, this is an, well, if it's a red herring, that means it's like a distraction from the actual truth, is the functionality of the phrase. And this expression comes from the fact that an escaped prisoner would drag a dried red herring fish behind them and then presumably run the other direction. So that way it would leave a scent that would throw off the bloodhounds.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah. It could also be linked to a former hunting practice where you pull a stinky red herring across the trail of a hunted animal to sharpen the skill of the hounds being trained. So, kind of weird that there's one source saying it would throw off the hounds and then others saying it trains the hounds, but something to do with that for sure.
Yeah. I guess there's practicality in that too, where you usually don't get red herrings at first, but once you start to understand them, you pick them up in future media.
That's true.
We are but a bloodhound looking for entertainment. That's a good one. You know what's funny? I am more than aware that a herring is a fish, but every time I heard red herring, I thought of a bird.
Me too.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. I know heron is a bird.
Oh, heron is a bird.
Maybe
Yeah.
that's where the confusion is, but yeah, for the longest time I thought it was a bird.
Yeah. And they're like very much not red.
Are they not red?
Herons are white. I don't know.
Oh.
Let me look it up.
I've never actually seen one.
They're white and gray. They look like a goose and a seagull had a baby.
Bird.
It's got a long neck, but like a short body.
Oh, yeah, okay. Sorry. I've seen a heron, the bird. I have not seen a herring, the fish.
Oh, ha. Are herrings red? They are not. I imagine there's like a rare red one here and there. They're very small.
I guess prisoners can only get their hands on small fish.
Oh, I did get a red herring meaning and origin through Google Photos. I guess you can get a rare red one. Maybe they smell stronger.
Maybe.
That or this is a very well photoshopped fish. Because there's a red one that I can see here. But I don't think they come that bright red. And now I'm just getting pictures of bloodhounds. Look how cute they are. Aw, they're so wrinkly. All right. Oh, the cream of the crop.
Mm-hmm.
This one is always funny. And it's always funny because, like, the way people say it is always fun. And it became, like, a joke amongst a few people I watched on YouTube. And it just means the best. If you're the cream of the crop, you're the best in a certain trait or field.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very simple. It's the cream is the best part of a batch of fresh milk. So it's just the best, richest, most desirable part of it.
I never knew what the crop referred to.
Yeah, I wouldn't use crop to define milk per se. But if you like kind of flip it the other way, where it's not like super literal. The cream is still the best part of its individual product.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're the cream, you're the best. So if you're the best of the crop, you're the best single product amongst a big group. But yeah,
Yeah.
cream of the crop.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
And now I want some whipped cream. Oh, I bought Cool Whip for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
Just to make some like pina coladas, and oh my god, Cool Whip is so terrible. It tastes bad.
It tastes bad.
I could have gotten a bad tub. But I usually get like either spray or I make it myself, but this was like in the container and it was so weird. Like it tasted fake. And like homemade
Really
whipped cream is so freaking easy to make, so like I almost never buy it, but I was just lazy. And it was nasty.
wild. I haven't bought name brand Cool Whip in a while, but we'll get tubs of the grocery store brand whipped topping, which is kind of funny, but I enjoy that a lot. So I don't know if that's better.
I like that they say whipped topping. Like whipped cream is not a brand name.
Yeah.
You could say whipped cream.
They were like, we got this. Toppings.
We need to make sure you don't put it on the bottom.
Yeah.
But
that's funny.
No, I gotta use that up though. I should have just left it with you or Sarita or whatever, because you could have had it with fruit.
True.
Damn.
I do like cream with fruit.
I was going to have cream with fruit today for lunch, and then I opened the fruit container because my mom had let me know that there was a fruit container in there and that I could have it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just green grapes, and they were moldy.
Oh, so
Like,
sad.
I noticed, thankfully, before I ate a single grape, but I was like, damn. So then I went to start just eating the little container of cream that I brought, and I was like, this is gross. And then I was just 0 for 2.
Oh, that's rough. I thought you were going to say you opened the container and it was just strawberries. And you've had this revelation.
Man, could you imagine?
Strawberry.
I think the whipped cream would have saved the strawberries, but yeah, I gotta have strawberries with something if I have them at all. And I think blended also makes them worse for that plot.
Mm.
But yeah, there's that one.
All right, cream of the crop. Creme de la creme.
Ooh.
I don't remember what that's from. Maybe The Office?
Maybe. There's also creme a la Edgar from like the Aristocats.
Oh, I don't remember that.
That is a deep cut that I barely remember. But it's a dessert, I think.
Huh. Fun.
You do your next one while I research that.
Cool. So my next one is walking on eggshells.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So if you use this phrase, it means you are being careful or like avoiding difficult topics around. It's usually like around a person, like if that person's in a bad mood or like is known to get offensive about what you have to say. Offensive, defensive. Then you would say, I'm walking on eggshells. So, this originates probably around the 1800s when people would collect eggs from hen houses. And it makes a lot of sense. They would just take care not to walk on any broken eggshells because that would disturb the birds.
Oh. Yeah, that's one that like made a lot of literal sense to me, like without there being a background, but knowing that that is the background is interesting.
Yeah. And no one's quite sure. Well, I say no one, but this source is not entirely sure like where it first started appearing in language or in writing. So I don't know when exactly it became an official phrase, but I think it's something that's been generally understood for as long as people have been farming.
Yeah. Huh. That's a good one. Yeah, and walking on eggshells, just, being around someone who's in a fragile state makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a phrase I actually used. more so than a lot of these. Yeah, creme de la creme a la Edgar is a English dessert that was used in the Aristocats. Hello?
Is it an actual dessert?
Oh, was my door knocked on? Anyone there? Nope. My door just makes noise. It is an actual dessert. Yep. They use it in the movie to like put someone to sleep or something. But it's like a cracker, but it's more like a cookie dipped in like a cream with cinnamon and sugar type drink, I guess. It's like you drink it and then you dip the cookie in it. It softens it up. So like a Oreos and milk kind of precursor.
Oh. It's fun.
Yeah, looks good actually. Binging with Babish made it.
It sounds good.
I love, this one's probably my favorite. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's like the food phrase.
Yes. And like obviously you have to hope that life also gives you water and sugar, but you know, just making the best out of something. I'm an optimistic person. I like that phrase a lot. You can also, when life gives you limes, make a margarita. You know, sometimes you just gotta, you know, sometimes the best of your situation isn't always lemonade, but I like that phrase. And that one is not, I don't have an origin for that one. I lost it. Nope. My page updated and I lost it. But yeah, it's, again, self-explanatory. Probably as old as lemonade.
So fun. Yeah, and it's one of those phrases too where, you know, the whole big long one is well known and used, but also if someone just says when life gives you lemons and they don't finish the phrase, like you know the ending, so it carries the same meaning, which is interesting.
Yeah, unlike a lot of phrases where like once you lose the second half it changes, like we were talking about with one of the first ones. Like blood is thicker than water. Nope, it's blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb. So the original phrase literally means like your found family can be more important to you than family, whereas the shortened phrase means the exact opposite.
I never knew about that one.
Jack of all trades, master of none is what people say. But it's Jack of all trades, master of one, but better than a master of none. So it's better to have well-rounded skills, unlike the original phrase, or unless the shortened phrase suggests you need to be an expert in at least one thing.
Yeah. Well, the more you know. It's interesting how changing it'll almost become the opposite of what it was originally intended.
Yeah, I can only imagine and hope that it wasn't used like particularly nefariously and that things just got shortened over time and their meanings changed, like the apple of my eye one.
Yeah.
But I mean, a lot of those phrases are used like against people now, and that's not even what they mean. Like blood is thicker than water being one that like I can imagine a manipulative family member would use against you when that's not even what it means.
Yeah.
If you got good family, that's awesome. I got a good family. But if you got good friends, even better.
Go.
We have about time for maybe one more each, if you want to do one more.
Yeah, that's perfect. I saved this one for last, and it's kind of my last. I don't want to say my last good one. Like they're all interesting, but I think this is the last one that I definitely wanted to mention here. So, this is a bit of a newer, well, not newer, but like more common for like Gen Z sort of phrase. Spill the tea. So, if you spill the tea, basically you are sharing gossip, or I think an older version of the phrase is like spilling the beans. Same sort of deal. Sharing secrets, sharing gossip. So, this is interesting. It's a little unclear which came first of these two groups, but the term tea being used for meaning truth. Some say it started with African American roots, and then others say it's originated in the LGBTQ plus community, and then spread to other aspects of African American culture. But basically, it started in either one of those minority groups, and it was notably used in an episode of RuPaul's Drag Race in the 90s, and it was spill the tea, meaning like the letter T, capital T, and it meant truth. So,
oh my god!
So they would say spill the tea, spill the truth, and that prompted someone to share gossip, and then from there it has gotten its way into mainstream culture through various like social media channels. But I think honestly, like it was notably spread more with a meme of Kermit the Frog sipping Lipton tea, and it became like Kermit was sharing gossip, and that image would be used a lot in that sort of context. So that's where the capital letter T sort of transformed into like tea the drink.
That's funny. I saw it a lot with the makeup/beauty community on all platforms. Where they would use it a lot. But that's funny. I thought like it was always tea the drink because I can imagine a historical context of ladies gossiping while having a cup of tea together. But that's a great one to end on because I like that one a lot.
Yeah, it's fun, and it's possible that like it may have had like it was the drink and then it went to the letter and then back to the drink. Like it definitely could have had roots before that, but yeah,
I like that it like originated in like Black/LGBTQ communities, which is cool. And I'm glad to like know that that's where that came from because I don't know where I would have assumed it did, but it would I never thought about where it came from exactly. I know they use it a lot, but so don't like white and straight people all the time. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that one. I don't use it often other than like with Noah when like he's like, "Oh my god, do I have something to tell you about work?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, spill the tea. Let's go." Like as a joke, fully ironically, cuz it is a silly thing to say and like it's fine. I think it's fine using literally and kind of with an air of like sarcasm to it. But the meaning is there regardless.
Yeah, I really love it. I think in college I used it fairly often because friends around me were also using it. So now it's also gotten to a point where we personally in our friend groups will shorten it. So if someone is talking about something they want to get off their chest, we're like, "Oh, tea?"
Yeah. That or just spill.
Yeah.
Which also came from spill the beans, with another food phrase that was on my list, but wasn't my favorite.
Yeah.
But, that's cool. Mine, I'm going to end on, just because I like the phrase, is to be in a pickle.
Yes. Love that phrase.
I save it for the end because I'd like to read directly off of this article, which is by fluentu.com. 20 Juicy English Expressions is the article that I've found a lot of these from.
Juicy expressions.
Juicy, yeah. Though this expression is an odd thing to think about, how does one get into a pickle? It actually means to be in a difficult situation. I guess it would be a very difficult situation if you were indeed stuck in a tiny pickle, so it almost makes sense. This is another one when you think of it literally, like the butter one. It's like, what? But to be a pickle stuck in a jar amongst many other pickles is you're in a tight spot, you're in a difficult situation, and you gotta work yourself out of that pickle. I don't get it. I didn't pull up the history of it, and I will right now. In a pickle, I just put it at the end of my list because I thought it was funny.
So, is it saying, like, you are the pickle? And you're in a jar amongst other pickles? And that's the tough spot?
Oh. Neither, I guess. In a pickle means in a difficult situation. It seems to stem from two different places, and one of them being an early Dutch phrase, in de pickle zitten, which translates as sitting in the pickle, or meaning to be drunk, because you were lost in the brine of alcohol, the brine of a pickle.
Oh, I love that.
Right? I'm going to now slightly incorrectly say that I am in a pickle next time I am slightly drunk. Oh, we're gonna go full circle here, because it's in Shakespeare's play The Tempest. How camest thou in this pickle? I have been in such a pickle since I saw you last that I fear me will never out of my bones.
Katelynn, I said that line. I was in a production of The Tempest, and I was Curated the Jester, and I totally, yes. Oh my god, as soon as you said that line, I was like, wait, I've done this before. That's fantastic.
One example of in a pickle used in the Belfast Telegraph, which is in a newspaper or like a news media. In a pickle, forklift truck driver buried under tons of cheese.
What?
Is he okay?
My god.
Oh, he was buried under tons of cheese for 8 hours. No, wait, literally, is he okay?
That's so much time.
He's truly lost in the sauce. That's another phrase I use very often.
I, genuinely hope this person's okay, but also, could they have eaten themselves out?
They're lactose intolerant.
Oh no. Literally a nightmare.
He is okay. He was uninjured.
Good. It was soft chew.
I'm so sorry to hear that, my dude. Tomasz Winzanewski. On Friday morning. Oh, May 2016, this happened. Hope you're doing good, Thomas.
Oh, wow. He's doing great now. How did you get a news article from that long ago?
So I looked up the history in the website The Grammarist, and underneath it links a bunch of times that in a pickle was used in media that they could find, and they actually provided links.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Thank you, The Grammarist.
He was in a pickle in that cheese.
Oh my god, were you in a pickle? Yeah, dude, I was stuck under a ton of cheese last night at work.
How do you even go into work the next day and face your coworkers? You have a bunch of bruises and things, and they're like, yo, what happened? And you're like, bunch of cheese fell on me.
Plus, of all the phrases you can come up with, in a sticky situation or something like that, you use another food one that's unrelated to cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Until we get to TIK TOK, where they made the cheese pickle. So just 2016 and 2020, just in a loop here. But yeah, I have been in such a pickle since I saw you last. I fear me will never out of my bones. And it cuts off. There's clearly a verb missing, or we haven't yet gotten to it in that one line from The Tempest. But
yeah,
how camest thou in this pickle is going to be a new phrase of mine.
Yeah.
Someone falls or someone's stuck somewhere. How camest thou in this pickle?
That's so good. I don't fully remember the line, or honestly the whole situation, but I know it was towards the end of the show, and the person who asked how camest thou in this pickle was the king, and they had just gone through a whole storm, and all of the rest of the play happened, and the jester, while trying to save his own head, is like, well, we were in this pickle because that's what I remember the energy being. I don't exactly know the circumstances, but
gotcha.
I just fully remember I had this like particular like I think I like brushed off his shoulder or something and he shot me a dirty look and it was just like the funniest bit we had running for so long.
That's funny. That seems like one of those things that like was done in a rehearsal and it just hit so well that
Yes,
like it stuck and it could not be performed without doing it.
exactly.
I love when that
Yeah.
happens.
Wow, good memory. I haven't thought about that show in a while.
Yeah. Well, good memory to you. I read this, so. But yeah, thank you, Shakespeare. This podcast was ghostwritten by Shakespeare. Um, as with all things that have been written, somehow they tie back to Shakespeare. You know, that 7 degrees of separation.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't know about the 7 degrees of separation, look that up because it's very interesting to learn about. And if you want to see it in action, play the Wikipedia challenge game because you'll find it.
Awesome.
But yeah.
Well, this was fascinating. I
yeah.
love these phrases. Use a good chunk of them. So it's so fun to learn where they started.
Yeah. A little history lesson today. Some actual information shared upon this podcast.
I know. And as per usual, take it with a grain of salt, as we discussed earlier.
Oh man, what's the phrase? I put this on a shirt and I've forgotten it.
Take it with a grain of salt, a kernel of corn, and a spoonful of sugar.
Yes. So I guess we'll leave with that. If you guys have any that we did not say, share it with us somewhere. Or not. That's fine too. But we'll see you in the next coming weeks. I will put no number on that because we'll never know.
Who knows?
We'll see what we'll do. We'll have a guest probably because this is the second in a row without a guest. Maybe we'll play a game. We haven't done a game in a while.
Awesome.
But with that, have a good night. Thank you, Shannon, as always.
Of course. Hasta la pasta, everybody.
Hasta la pasta.